take two. Alright, it's 1:31 p.m. on the 10th, on Sunday, the 10th of March, 2013. 65 beautiful degrees out there, and hopefully I don't have to start this one over. Alright, I'm reading from Matthew Henry's Concise Commentary on the Bible, and we are in Genesis chapter 2, verses 1 through 3. After 6 days, God ceased from all work of creation and miracles. He has overruled nature, but never changed its settled course or added to it. God did not rest as one who was weary, but as one well pleased. Notice the beginning of the kingdom of grace and the sanctification or keeping holy of the Sabbath day, the solemn observing of 1 day in 7 as a day of holy rest and holy work to God's honor, and the duty of all to whom God has made known His holy Sabbaths. At this time, none of the human race were in being, but our first parents. For them the Sabbath was appointed, and clearly for all succeeding generations also. The Christian Sabbath, which we observe, is a seventh day, and in it we celebrate the rest of God the Son, and the finishing of the work of our redemption. 2, verse 4 through 7. Here is a name given to the Creator, Jehovah, where the word Lord is printed in capital letters in our English Bibles. In the original, it is Jehovah. Jehovah is the name of God, which denotes that He alone has His being of Himself, and that He gives being to all creatures and things. Further notice, it is taken of plants and herbs, because they were made and appointed to be food for man. The earth did not bring forth its fruits of itself. It was done by almighty power. Thus grace in the soul grows not of itself, its nature soul, but is the work of God. Rain is also the gift of God. It came not till the Lord God caused it. Though God works by means, yet He pleases. He can do His own work without them. And though we must not tempt God in the neglect of means, we must trust God, both in the use in the one a means. Some ways or other, God will water the plants of His own planting. Divine grace comes down like the dew, and waters the church without noise. Man was made of its small dust, such as is on the surface of the earth. The soul was not made of the earth, as the body. Pity then it should cleave to the earth, and mind earthly things. To God we must shortly give an account, how we have employed these souls. And if it be found that we have lost them, though if were to gain the world, we are undone forever. Fools despise their own souls by caring for their bodies before their souls. Chapter 2, verse 8 through 14. The place fixed upon for Adam to dwell in was not a palace, but a garden. The better we take up with plain things, and the less we seek things to gratify pride and luxury, the nearer we approach to innocency. It's innocent, but it's innocency. Nature is content with the little and that which is most natural. Grace with less, but less craves everything, and is content with nothing. No delights can be satisfied to the soul, but those which God Himself has provided and appointed for it. Eden signifies delight and pleasure. Wherever it was, it had all desirable conveniences, without any inconvenience. Though no other house or garden on earth ever was so, it was adorned with every tree, pleasant to the sight, and enriched with every tree that yielded fruit, grateful to the taste and good for food. God, as a tender father, desired not only Adam's profit, but his pleasure. For there is pleasure with intimacy. Nay, there is true pleasure only in intimacy. When Providence puts us in a place of plenty and pleasure, we ought to serve God with gladness of heart in the things he gives us. Eden had two trees particular to itself. One, there was a tree of life in the midst of the garden. Of this man might eat and live. Christ is not to us the tree of life. Revelations 2:7-22:2. And the bread of life. John 6:48 and 51. Number 2, there was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So called because there was a positive revelation of the will of God about this tree, so that by it man might know moral good and evil. What is good? Is it good not to eat of this tree? What is evil? Is it evil to eat of this tree? And these two trees God set before Adam, good and evil, the blessing and the curse. 2. Chapter 15. After God had formed Adam, he put him in the garden. All boasting was thereby shut out. Only he that made us can make us happy. He that is formed out of our bodies, and the Father of our spirit. And none but he can fully provide for the happiness of both. Even in the paradise itself, man had to work. None of us were sent into the world to be idle. He that made our souls and bodies has given us something to work with, and he that gave us this earth for our habitation has made us something to work upon. The sons and heirs of heaven, while in this world, have something to do about this earth, which must have its share of their time and thoughts, and if they do it with an eye to God, they as truly serve him in it. And when they are upon their knees, observe that the husbandman's calling in an ancient honorable calling. It is needful, even in paradise also, there is true pleasure in the business God calls us to and employs us in. Adam could not have been happy if he had been idle. It is God's law. He that will not work has no right to eat. 2 Thessalonians 3:10. Chapter 2:16 and 17 verses states, let us never set up our own will against the holy will of God. There was not only liberty allowed to man in taking the fruits of paradise, but everlasting life made sure to him upon his obedience. There was a trial appointed for his obedience. By transgression he would forfeit his Maker's favor and deserve his displeasure with all its awful effects, so that he would become liable to pain, disease, and death. Worse than that, he would lose the holy image of God and all the comfort of his favor, and feel the torment of sinful passions and the terror of his Maker's vengeance, which must endure forever, and his never-dying soul, forbidden to eat of the fruit of a particular tree, was wisely suited to the state of our first parents, and their state of innocence, and separated from any other. What opportunity or what temptation had they to break any of the 10 Commandments? The event proves that the whole human race were concerned of the trials and falls of our first parents. To argue against these things is to strive against stubborn facts as well as divine revelation. For man is sinful and shows by his first action and his conduct ever afterwards that he is ready to do evil. He is under the divine displeasure, exposed to suffering and death. The scriptures always speak of man as a sinful character in his miserable state, and these things as true as men in all ages and of all nations. Verses 18 through 25. Power over the creatures was given to man, and as proof of this he named them all. It also shows his insight into the works of God. But though he was Lord of the creatures, yet nothing in this world was a help meant for man. From God are all our helpers. If we rest in God, he will work all for good. God caused deep sleep to fall on Adam. While he knows no sin, God will take care that he shall feel no pain. God, as her father, brought the woman to man as his second self, and helped meet for him. The wife, who is of God's making for special grace, and of God's bringing by special providence, is likely to prove a helpmeet for a man. See what need there is, both of prudence and prayer, in the choice of this relation, which is so near and so lasting that had need to be done, which is to be done for life. Our first parents needed no clothes for covering against cold or heat, for neither could hurt them. They needed none for ornament. Thus easy, thus happy, was man in his state of innocy. How good was God to him! How many favors did he load him with! How easy were the laws given to him! Yet man, being in honor, understood not his own interest, but soon became as the beasts that perish. And that concludes Genesis chapter 2. Peace be with you, my brothers and sisters. Peace be in you, my brothers and sisters. May grace be bestowed upon you. I love you guys. Shalom.